Alright, this morning we got the John Deere 5410 in the shop. We're going to be changing the motor oil, motor oil filter, the fuel filter, and the hydraulic filter. We'll check the hydraulic fluid. I'm not going to replace all of it today, but we'll just kind of go through the process. So to start out, I got my 3 filters. This all came from Napa. 1740 is the hydraulic filter, 3548 is the fuel filter, and 7243 is the oil filter. 3/8 drive ratchet, that'll pull the plug on the oil pan. The red filter wrench, I like it. It'll get the oil filter and the fuel filter off. The strap style filter wrench, this one, it's a 1/2 inch drive ratchet that'll turn it. It'll be used for the hydraulic filter if I can't get it off by hand. I've already went through, got the oil capacities. I got all my oil and stuff sitting over on the table. This tractor says it holds 2¼ gallons. I just did a Google search. You can look in the manual wherever, but let's get started. Okay, so we've got all the oil drained out. See, it's just dripping. I'm ready to go back in with the plug. It's got a little brass washer here, kind of like a banjo bolt style gasket, you could call it. Just check it, make sure it's in good shape, and put it back together. You don't have to kill it, get it pretty snug. Give it a little wipe down, and we're ready to move on. I forgot about the broom. We've already got the plug back in. We're fixing to pull the oil filter. The oil filter is just under here, next to the fuel filter, so we'll have to pop the hood. And I'm going to use this broom handle to prop the hood up high enough because the latch only allows it to go here. The factory, we need to get a little higher than that. Push it off with a broom. Perfect. Oil filter, fuel filter. We'll go ahead and drain the oil out and swap it over. I don't know if I can get it by hand. I can't. Not a big deal. The old faithful wrench on it. Pretty tight. Hasn't been changed in a while. So you're gonna get oil everywhere once you do this, but it'll clean up. It's just a tractor. Should be good with the wrench. up some of this stuff with this shirt. There we go. When you change an oil filter, you always want to check and make sure that the rubber gasket stays on the filter and not on the housing. Sometimes they'll stick on the housing, put the new filter on, and it'll leak because the two gaskets won't seal against each other. So let's grab the new filter. Brand new. I always want to double check. Make sure they're the same. Which they are. Looks like it to me. I just cross-referenced the John Deere number. Come out to be this Napa 7243. But yeah, easy stuff. So the way I like to do my filters, I got me an old bucket. I put my old filter in here, get it out the way. I take the box, push it down, I drop the filter in there, and I add the oil to the filter. I just bought this at Tractor Supply. This is Traveler 1540. I missed the Black Friday sale. They had a good deal, but this will work. Fill it up, let some air escape, the oil level will go down. Take some oil and rub on this gasket. Help it seal. Give it a little wipe down. I spilled some, which is typical. Not sure how well you can see that, but I'm ready to go back on with the oil filter. I've looked in here, it's all clean. I like it. So let's screw the filter on. Grab my rag, see if I can get a little better grip. Hand tight is really all you need to go, but me personally, I like to put a little extra on it. All filters done. Let's move on to the fuel filter. We'll get it swapped since we're already right here. And then we will backfill it with motor oil. Clean up a little bit of stuff we dropped here. I'll put this rag up here just to kind of catch whatever I can. It's not a big deal, it's just diesel. So this filter is the whole thing here. I don't have any, I'll use some diesel out of the old filter to seal, put on this seal. The same filter. It's got the water drain at the bottom. It's a water separator. So let's pull this old one off and then put the new one on. Pretty simple. So this cap is what holds it in. You unscrew the cap, give the filter A little twist, and down it will come. These wires are in the back, that's what's holding it. So out comes the filter. Here's the old filter. We'll separate the cap from the filter itself. I've got my cap, I'll set it here, knock a little dirt off of it. Take a look inside, it all looks clear. What I'll do is take a little fuel. So here's the two surfaces, same filter. I'll take some diesel out of here, put on this rubber seal, and then reinstall it. Put my cap on. Pop the filter into place. Ensure the plastic housing tight. And that's done. Alright, so we finished up the oil filter, the fuel filter. We may have to prime this a little bit. You can unscrew this and use the prime bulb here to push the air out, fill it back up with fuel. I'm probably going to give it a try without doing it. So right here on the driver's side, there's the oil cap. It's a big guy right here. Pop it loose and pour in the 2 1/4 gallons is what it called for. I'm gonna try to do this with no filter. No funnel. I have a 2 1/2 gallon jug of oil, so should get us pretty close. Yeah, I spilled some. I spilled a lot. Check and see. Feels pretty close. I may need to add a little, but we'll start there. Put the cap back on. Dipstick. Just give it a check, just because. Yeah, it looks a little low, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to fire it up and let it cycle, and then we'll add the necessary amount of oil. We got air in the system. I should have gave it some more throttle whenever I cranked it, and it did crank. Not a big deal though. We'll see if we can get some of the air out and fire it back up. I may have to put some gas on it now that I let air get into it. So we'll go check the oil again. Now that it's turned over a little bit, doesn't look like any diesel's leaking or any oil's leaking through the filter. So it looks like we need a little bit, which we anticipated. I'll go ahead and put some. That actually looks perfect. The filter probably needs to absorb a little more, so I'm gonna leave it alone. Put the cap back on, change the hydraulic filter, and then after running it for a little while, I'll recheck the oil and everything. Okay, now we've done the oil, fuel. We're gonna go under and do the hydraulic filter, hydraulic oil filter. So we're on the passenger side of the tractor. The hydraulic filter is right there. I've already got the filter set up. I didn't fill it up all the way with oil, but I did put some hydraulic oil in it just to lubricate it and partially fill it, put the O-ring in. The reason I didn't fill it all the way up is because it mounts horizontally, right? All the oil is going to spill out, so, or most of it, but just kind of make less of a mess. Got the tools and everything already under there. Let's get it off and swap it out. It's a pretty cool wrench. It works both directions, either direction. Simple to use. I'm not even sure where I got this. I made one out of a seat belt one time. I don't know where it's at though. Seat belt and a piece of tubing. So I swapped my big bucket out for a little bucket, which I'll put here. Catch the oil that's gonna come out. Yeah, that fluid doesn't look too bad. Try to get this swapped out as fast as possible. Like I said, I've already put the O-ring in there. I've lubed it up. The hydraulic system takes a little more pressure, like line pressure, than anything else. So you don't just hand tighten these filters. You should tighten them up by hand, and then you're gonna tighten it up with the wrench until you see metal to metal contact between the housing and the filter itself. That feels pretty good. Give it a look. Ow. Looks like metal to metal contact to me. I actually put a little dent in there. But you know, these filters are kind of a bad spot. I've punched holes in a lot of them. That's why normally I don't change the fluid, because I'll punch a hole in it and it'll drain all the fluid out, and I'll just put a new filter and refill it. So I'll try every year to change the filters though, at least, and then maybe every other time the fluid. But it's kind of a bad spot. Sticks come up or whatever and punch holes in it. But that's done. We'll check the fluid level in the hydraulic system and then call it a day. Back at the back of the tractor now, we're going to check the hydraulic fluid and see where it's at and then run it. So it says we're full, but we know we lost a little bit when we changed the filter. So I'll fire it up, let it cycle, and then check it again. And like suspected, we're a little low. I'm gonna grab a funnel. Another quart or so. Call that good. Anytime you change the oil and filters, you should check them periodically as you run it. You know that. Make sure you don't have any leaks. Make sure your levels are good. I'm not even checking it again. I'm putting it back together. Calling it good.